So I made this new moon reading for today, and I like to see these readings made on the new moon and the full moon as kind of for the next couple of weeks until the full moon comes along. I'm doing just a simple 3-card reading, and the 3 cards don't have any specific positions, except for the first one, which seems to be not necessarily the most important card, but the one which dictates focus, action, embodiment, what is maybe the most important aspect of ourselves to embody, which is kind of obvious when we see the first card is, and this hasn't come up for a while, this for me, the Knight of Wands. And so this is, the Knights are this, there's a male energy, so it's kind of outward going, it's very expressive in nature, especially the Knight of Wands. He's very creative in his expression, and but the Knights have this the best way I can describe the Knights is to feel into our adolescence, feel into that part of us which is excited about discovering our identity, and at the same time enough maturity to go out there and share what we find about ourselves. In this case, this wand, this fiery power of passion, and this message of purpose and mission, and how we can create transformation inside of ourselves, how we can, go out there and share our mission statement with the world. This is part of what this night is all about. He's this energy inside of us that is willing to get enthusiastic about things, get enthusiastic about life, especially our lives, and to take that enthusiasm and make it, or direct it towards something useful, direct it towards something that has meaning and purpose, something that feels connected with our hearts, something that involves change and involves growth and involves movement and involves understanding this continuous cycle of life. He wears this, he's got this fiery banner on his head and the fire of transformation. His horse is like, come on, hi ho silver away type thing. He's eager and willing and ready to go, and it's that energy inside of us that we find that is fantastic for initiating movement and initiating change. It's that part of us that's quite willing to say yes, quite willing to not just say yes, but be the first one who's going to get out there. There are leadership qualities in all the court of Wands, because it's kind of a very fiery, outward going leader type nature and creative power in this whole suit. And there's a leadership quality in this Knight too, not with the same maturity as the King version of leadership, but more the enthusiastic, okay, you've got the idea, King, Queen, let's go, but I'm going to be the one who's going to take everybody to battle, or take everybody out there to share the word. I'm the energy that's required in order to provoke a new phase, or provoke a new change, or motivate myself into some version of movement. So that's a little bit about the Knight. And so he's asking, so then obviously there's like, okay, so what's the biggest guidance for this movement? And then these next 2 cards came along, and they just fell out when I was doing the shuffling of this reading. And And I was looking at them and going, what? Really? And I doubted whether it was, I doubted whether they were the right way up, because they fell out and they were all, they weren't necessarily one way or the other. So I asked, okay, is this the right way up, or is this reversed? And they both reversed. But look at the cards that came out. So the two major arcana cards, the 14 and the 15, this is Temperance and the Devil. And two major arcana cards side by side, so they have a connection just because of the numerological stages in the major arcana journey that we take. And let's take a look at these, and they both came out, you know, together and side by side. So I thought, oof, that's kind of powerful in its own way. So we're going to read them together because they came out together. We're going to read their reverse nature together as well. And in a way, when a major arcana card comes out reverse for me, it obviously shows that there's a little bit of resistance, a little bit of blockage, and maybe the ego getting in the way of really embodying the lesson of this card, and really comprehending deeply the message that the card wants to give us, or really living out that cycle of understanding and wisdom that the card is going to bring into us. So there is that on one level, and yet so they speak about, okay, maybe there's a little bit of extra work, a little bit of more quality focus, more quality intention, more deeper investigation, in order to turn this card around and embrace what the lesson really is. And that embracing, or that embodiment of this lesson, that might be quite difficult because they are reversed, or might feel unnatural, or might not come easy. We might bump into resistance to embodying these lessons and understanding the true message, or the true initiation that the cards speak about. Because there is that resistance, we need a little bit of, hey, extra enthusiasm and motivation, and come on, we can do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. If anybody can do it, I've got the courage to do it. Come on, let's get out there. And this is the guy to really drive us into movement, and into the changes that we need to make in order to really reverse these cards around. And when cards come out reverse, it's not like I don't feel like their message changes. I just feel like, so we can read these two like this, you know. I don't think their actual message change. I just see that there's a resistance to embrace that message, because we've got some old programs in place that are blocking us from actually really just living the truth that this phase or realization is asking us to make. So the Temperance is asking us to really go inside. Okay, so there's one obvious word which sums up the journey of turning these two cards around, and it's honesty. And maybe honesty is key to nearly all of our journey through the major arcana, but it seems to be a theme of the moment anyway that's coming up. And there's an honesty that's needed in order to investigate deeply, to pour from our conscious to our unconscious, to stand half on the earth and half in the waters of ourselves, to tap into continually this inner state of awareness, and to create this dialogue and this inner communication that takes our awareness inwards and outwards and flows evenly back and forth. And we're evenly half here, half on the inner world and half in our outer world. This relationship to the inner outer world is seen in many of the different cards in the tarot, and it's a kind of a theme that repeats itself with the masculine and the feminine. It's a theme that repeats itself when we have water and earth in the same card, and when we're grounded and there's these subconscious waters. And so there is this repeated message, but the temperance represents this communication in a slightly different way, because this is an angel, and we have an angel inside, not one angel that's specific to me. You can look at it that way, you can tap into it that way, but we have angelic consciousness, we have higher awareness, we have deeper level of creative power, we have God consciousness inside of us, we have this creative essence inside of us, and we have this ability to tap into a higher truth. This is part of the temperance's message, because it's an inner communication, but that inner communication is not, oh, hey, what's going on with me today? Oh, wow, a little bit like that. No, it's an inner communication where what is happening here, and bring in the divine channel. And part of turning this card around, I've noticed, is remembering this, the divine channel that we are in essence. And when I say that when I use those words, it's very difficult. I think it's not always easy to relate to that sentence, because what does that mean? Even what does that mean to me? What does it mean that I have divinity inside of me? That, I mean, we might have an intellectual understanding of the spiritual truth that says that we're all fractals of God consciousness, and we're all part of the united awareness. But knowing that through experience, knowing what it means to have higher awareness inside of us, is not the same as just thinking the thought or understanding to a certain degree what that thought means. It's living that reality. It's feeling that we are the channel. It's experiencing the light here, the sun on the forehead, the crown sun in the background with that path going out. It's about feeling that connection and experiencing that connection come through us through a certain inner communication that we are creating. Temperance comes before the devil, because when there is this connection to the divine, it supersedes any egotistical fears. And what that means is, I'm connected to God. Then once we embody that as a reality, it's very difficult to feel the ego fears at the same time. It's very difficult for us to give as much importance to the frailty of my individuality, which is always going to be frail. The frailty of this individual body, which is going to die when I get older, the frailty of this individual consciousness that appears to lack something because we're stubbornly thinking that we're separate from the all. And when we feel connected, this ego fear, this ego sense of lack, this idea that we're missing something, doesn't have as strong a hold upon us. And this allows us to see that fear clearly, or clearer. This allows us to see how this fear is creating strong attachments and habits that make us codependent with everything around us, and that we feel that we need a little bit more of this because we don't have enough of it, and we want some of this because because I'm not good enough on my own, and all of these aspects of ourselves that the devil represents, these attachments that we have to the material world because we haven't connected our material world to the light yet. We haven't made that connection a clear one. We haven't made that connection an embodied reality, an experiential one where we can go, oh, I feel that. And part of that journey requires us to think about it, to share it, and to share that message, and to speak about it, and to remember it, because all this sharing and speaking about it is a practice of remembering, and the practice of remembering our godlike essence, or our true spiritual source, where we all come from, is definitely part of the knight's message, even though, yeah, he might be struggling with embodying it all because he's just that adolescent. He doesn't have the experience of the king yet, or the queen. He's just, he's running out there to find those stories, and in a way it's perfect that these next two cards are reversed, because if there's anything that would represent, would be a wonderful challenge for this night, it's about, hey, let's practice a little bit more honesty. Let's practice the honesty that first of all connects us with spirit, and it's an honesty of remembering. A lot of the time, when we communicate with ourselves, yeah, where do the answers come from when we ask questions to ourselves? And we can, or they come from my subconscious. Yeah, but what does that mean? It means it comes from this collective pool of united awareness, which is how we tap into this angelic consciousness, this higher awareness, and this godlike creative source where we've all come from. And as we do so, we and as we really embody the temperance, and in a way there was an order, like the knight came out and this one came out next, or reversed, it came out next. When we managed to turn that over and embody the temperance completely, it allows us to dive into the devil, and then turn the devil the right way up as well, by seeing clearly in the darkness, by being able to have the maturity to go into ourselves and embrace that, the more stuck feelings, the more chained and attached aspects of our humanity and our ego that cause us to feel lower vibrations in our lives, when we feel emotionally lower, when we feel energetically lower, when we feel mentally maybe darker and more shadow-like. And it allows us to shine a light on those more darker aspects of ourselves, so that we can bring the devil's beauty. And when I say the devil's beauty, it's not, we're not like we're worshiping the devil, but there's these two are both angels. They're both angels, even though this is kind of like the dark angel and this is a light angel. They're both got wings, and this angelic quality of the devil is a darker angelic quality, but it's still a higher vibrational message, in that there is something important in experiencing and seeing and recognizing the dark attachments we have to our past that stop us being in the present moment, and the dark attachments that we have to all those ancestral stories, all those ancestral programs, and the habits that keep us from feeling godlike in nature, whole. So calling in this motivation of the night again, and then we can feel that fire and feel that motivation, even though we don't exactly know exactly where we're going exactly, but we can get enthusiastic enough to say, well, let's just go and see where it takes us. And we know that the first step is, come on, let's go and find that truth. Let's go and find that light inside of us and see where we can take it from there. And what does that look like? Well, it means looks like getting on your horse and doing something, that's for sure. It means like going somewhere, which means we have to, maybe change the place where we are. It means we have to do something different. We have to maybe have the courage to act differently, to look differently, and to think differently about where we are and what we're doing, and to practice remembering that connection to source that can make us the channels that we are. And that's a little bit of a new moon message, and I hope it relates to you in some way.
So I hope you enjoyed this reading. These full moon readings and new moon readings I'm sharing with my tarot healing community, but then I'm going to be posting them up on Facebook and YouTube for all to see, except for the part where we share and go a little bit deeper into personal healing stories. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in interacting and sharing and getting a little bit more inspired in your own healing process, if that's what's important for you in your life, then please maybe just check out the link in the description below, and maybe it sounds interesting for you to join our community. I'm going to be sharing all sorts of stuff, giving a few things away, sharing some teachings and lessons as well, and we'll be super happy to have more people to interact with and find inspiration together. Anyway, have a fantastic day, fantastic 2 weeks. Hope this resonated with you in some way, and enjoy.